Are you prepared for the end of the sun? Imagine this yellow dwarf star dying off much earlier than it ought to. What might that resemble? Would the sun retreat to a small, chilly object? Or burn brightly and large before completely vanishing? Also, how would this affect Earth? If the sun started to die right now, what would happen is as follows. A massive gas and dust-filled space cloud collapsed in on itself approximately 4.6 billion years ago when some extremely intense energy waves collided with it. Since then, its core has been using energy from nuclear fusion reactions. Each second, this gigantic atomic reactor changes over 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium, the wellspring of all the sun's intensity and light. Assuming that we some way or another figured out how to construct a 3-kilometer, 2-mile, wide ice span between the Earth and the Sun, it would dissolve it in one moment. That is how much energy a star produces. But the Sun will run out of hydrogen fuel one day, in billions of years. What would happen if that day arrived much earlier? Would the Sun simply vanish in a huge explosion? Assume for a moment that time began to move very quickly for the Sun. A billion years would pass in a single day. After a day, the sun would shine 10% brighter at that rate. Although a reduction of 10% may not seem like much, the impact on our planet would be significant, and if you enjoy tropical weather, this might seem like a good thing to you. However, don't get too excited about it. The same amount of heat that once transformed Venus into the cooked volcanic planet we know today would be used to bake the Earth. All of the plants would perish and the oceans would begin to evaporate. Animals that eat plants would start to starve. Vegans might want to think about changing their diet. They would be able to boil a chicken in the ocean by the third day of this intense heat. Salty, ugh. This is due to the fact that the sun's current temperature would have increased by 40% by that point. The challenges you would face if you lived on Venus would also apply to surviving on Earth. You shouldn't invest in real estate on that hellish planet, believe me. On day 5, the sun would at last have consumed every last bit of its hydrogen. This would be the beginning of the end for our beloved old friend. As it accumulated in the core of the sun, the helium ash would become unstable and collapse under its own weight. The center would get more blazing and more thick, yet the actual sun would grow. We mean that it would grow to the size of a red giant, which would be large enough to swallow Venus and Mercury. Within this swollen, hot star, even Earth could vanish. And if it didn't, our planet wouldn't be much use at all because no living thing could withstand such high temperatures. In a flash, the helium at the sun's core would soon ignite. The sun would become a red giant branch instead of a red giant, but that would still be 10 times its current size. What's more, multiple times more brilliant than it is presently, yet with a lower temperature. In a series of thermal pulses, the portion of our sun that remains would continue to grow and shrink. Each pulse would be brighter and larger than the one before it. There is very little chance that Earth would survive those. In the same way that massive stars do, could the sun ever become a black hole? Even though the Sunday may appear to be a huge object to us, when compared to the size of the universe, it is not even close to the size of a supernova star. Our sun would ultimately wind up as a white small star, done radiating critical intensity or light. All of this, which is a significant transformation, will actually occur to our sun. However, fortunately, none of us will be around to witness it in 5 billion years. Which is truly beneficial. Do you not agree?